Hello, I'm Mahesh Bhat, a senior faculty member at Srishti. I'm a photographer, filmmaker, communicator, and today an interviewer. I am here with my colleague Vineeta Rath, who is the head of studies of experience design, an MA in experience design. Vineeta, welcome, and would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Mahesh. I'm Vineeta, and I head the MA in Experience Design program here at Srishti Manipal Institute. And I am also managing a transdisciplinary research space called the Soma Sense, again for the PG students here. And I've been a faculty here for about 7+ years now. And I have had a background in experience design, user experience design as a consultant and strategist. And apart from that, my background in industrial design and architecture, all of them come together in informing what the practice of experience design as a curriculum can be. So that's a little bit about me. Yes.
Thanks, Vineeta. Today we are going to talk about, of course, the MA in Experience Design, and the other course that we have is the MDes in Design-led Innovation. So we are going to discuss a little bit about both the programs. But first, Vineeta, tell us what do we do? What does your course do here? The master's program, the MA in Experience Design. We hear so much about experience design. What is it?
That's a good question. May I ask you a question in response to that? Can you really design an experience?
Well, I think seems like it. Yeah, I mean, you go to a college, that's an experience there. How does make the experience better for the learners and faculty and people who are here, or even traveling by bus, in Bangalore city, or going by train or going to a museum. Yeah, I think but there will all be different kinds of experiences, right? Or maybe sometimes when you say experience design, you think of your mobile phone, right? So or an app.
Yes.
So it seems like many things.
Yes, absolutely. And good answer, Mahesh. In fact, experience design, the premise is really you can't really design experiences, really. You can create situations where experiences can emerge. So the spirit of doing experience design is actually thoughtfully curating different kinds of products, experiences, services, systems, infrastructures, all tied together to hopefully emerge a positive experience for the experiencer. You can't really plan for it beyond a point that, okay, this is exactly the experience a person will have, but you can thoughtfully curate a set of things to hopefully emerge a positive experience. So that's in a nutshell what experience design is. Yeah.
Thank you. Today we are not going to talk about the difference in the MA and the MDes programs here. That has been addressed in an earlier webinar and also in another podcast, the links for which you will find below. Please go through it as and when you can at your own leisure. Vineeta, now so tell us a little more about what happens in this MA course in experience design.
Okay, so essentially you may have heard of the more catchy terms or the most popular professions of UI or UX designers. So what happens in experience design is we are re-looking at this definition of what does an experience designer do. And so experience design is an umbrella term where you are looking at user interactions, design of user interfaces, but also designing not just keeping the person who's interacting with something, looking at them as a user, but you are looking at them as people first. So it's more of a ground up understanding of what does experience mean, and then building onto what aspects do you want to design for this individual in relationship with a service or an artifact. So you're essentially looking at the entire gamut of experiences. You can look at the aspect of service design, you can look at a human computer interaction, you can look at how a person interacts with a digital technology. You can look at different dimensions and how all of that stitches together, not just in that moment of experience, but across time and across space. So that's kind of broadly, again, what experience design is and does. So it could, for example, have a UI-based project where you are looking at the interactions on a mobile phone, but you will also imagine it like a iceberg. So what you see is the tip of the iceberg above the surface, but there are multiple layers below the level of the water, which is the strategy, the scope, the skeleton. All of these aspects also inform the design of an experience. So you're not just designing the UI, you're also looking at what does it mean to design for that UI. So all those things come together for this course. So you're also looking at the research, you're looking at the mapping of the different dimensions. You're really engaging with people on the ground, on the field for this one.
Yeah. Great. I know that you mentioned Soma Sense, that's the lab that you have, and also the Somasthetic. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
That idea, I think your practice revolves around, and you're deeply invested in researching.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, thank you for raising that point. So essentially what somasthetics is, it is coined by a gentleman called Richard Schusterman. He is a philosopher, and what he brings into the idea of doing design today through his philosophies and how we draw from that is looking at the human as an entire being experiencing something, doing things. It's a purposive sentient being, not just a cognitive animal, so to say. So taking from that, I'm trying to bring in the idea of embodied cognition into practice. So that majorly informs what experience design is in the way that we try to engage with the experience of a person. So it is not just how they press a button and go through things like a user, but how do they feel and emote and be in a situation where an experience is happening. And as part of Soma Sense, we also therefore explore full-bodied experiences, kind of zoom in into ourselves and try to feel what it is to experience something, and then also try to then articulate what is the vocabulary of such interactions, and then try to not really problem solve here. It is an MA program and it's inquiry, so we actually try to make sense of the gamut of things we are experiencing, and then try to articulate it for better design in some sense. So it's like a precursor to design. So what do you really focus on when you are doing design? That's what the emphasis is through these engagements. Yes.
That's very interesting. You know, many years ago, the great choreographer Chandralekha had told me that art is when you resonate to the stimuli that you receive.
Absolutely.
The word she said and emphasized is spandana. You know, I think it sounds very similar to.
Yes.
I think that's exactly what you're saying. I guess, isn't it?
Yes, and thank
spandana.
you. Yes,
it's
in
beautiful.
fact. Yeah, and the interesting thing is there are so many concepts like this in the global south, where the concept of the body is core to our philosophies. So again, a part of Soma Sense, and hopefully in larger conversations within the practice of experience design and the MA, it is also about looking at how do we experience things. Do we use the same terminologies to speak about experiences? Can we speak about things with words like spandana? And what are the more local ways of experiencing and articulating those experiences? That kind of becomes a spirit of the exploration as well. So what would an Indian version of this look like? And again, it does not mean like Indian as in one version of it. It is more plural, and also looking at different ways of articulating experiences apart from just one narrative of how it is defined in a mostly Western way, where we approach it in a specific lens, because that has informed the practice of doing experience design until now. So in that way, we're also exploring how would we attempt to do design if we are grounding it in the local context and designing. So that's also a very critical aspect. So thank you for bringing that up, Mahesh. Yeah.
Welcome. We can go on and on about
Yes.
this, but let me, before we move over to talk about a little bit about the design-led innovation course, could you quickly tell us what can a graduate, somebody who's after getting their MA in experience design do in life?
Okay, so that's a good question. So usually my students ask me this, like, this is not the typical pathway that you see if somebody wants to do experience design. So where does it take me? So it takes you everywhere, wherever you want, but with a greater understanding of the connection between an experience and the design, and that's the kind of goal, to make that connection. So it does not remove you from the standard opportunities of a profession in a experience design field of user experiences or user interfaces, but it is way more. So you could find yourself employed as a service designer, as an interaction designer, as an experience designer, and if you also understand the definition of UI UX is changing. We're constantly innovating in the field. So because it's a larger umbrella, you will find more scope than less. If you call yourself a UI UX person, there is a certain definition that goes with it. And in fact, all of our programs, we stay away from these classical ways of articulating the course. They're very different things. We shouldn't equate them. So what essentially I'm trying to say is, we critically look at the different interactions between humans and digital forms of technology and how they interact. We also look at experiential dimensions of non-digital designs as well, or non-digital infrastructures as well. So you can find yourself working in spaces which look at end-to-end journeys of people across time, across space. So it's, a much more wider field. In summary, they can find themselves in a typical Google or Facebook. They could also find themselves in NGOs. They could find themselves in teaching. They could find themselves doing further studies and becoming philosophers of design and art. Yes.
Great, thanks. Now, let's move on to design-led innovation. I just want to tell the viewers that I'm standing in actually for in this conversation for our colleague Sanjukta Ghosh, who had to go out of town on a personal work. So I don't know much about design-led innovation. So that's why I want to ask you. I have a piece of paper here in which there is it says, design-led innovation is a program nurtures the idea generation process through intense research, creativity and critical thinking to address various social challenges. So this will allow an individual to understand multiple systems and their complexities. This is an MDes program. Well, all the eligibility criteria, etc., are on our website. But could you please tell us what's the difference between experience design, which is an MA, and an MDes in design-led innovation? Vineeta, please.
Yeah, sure. So essentially, if you look at the way in which we have kind of articulated an MA, where it is more inquiry-led, where the making is also towards critically looking at how it interfaces with the world, and when we are looking at MDes, it also looks at current needs and really attending to the wicked problems of the world. So both are required. So how DLI or design-led innovation is looking at it is looking towards design towards innovation, versus when we're looking at experience design, it looks at critical inquiry of the artifacts and systems and spaces that we create today, and even challenging it or speculating towards what it could be. So that's kind of how we navigate this difference. Yeah.
So is the design-led innovation more for people who are analytical, who want to be entrepreneurial?
Yes. Yeah. I think that actually is the kind of students we look out for. Those who want to kind of come and bring their own understanding of, say, their previous disciplines, and then learn how to come up with ideas, to then build concepts, to then build products, and then put it out in the market for people to kind of interact with it and develop. So it's that journey of end to end, as I understand from how Sanjukta is defining or articulating DLI. So that's the journey.
So when we say entrepreneurial, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and start your own business. You can be an entrepreneur within the organization.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So in the sense, a DLI graduate could be, I mean, they could bring in that, even if they're working in a corporate situation, they can bring in the learnings and become an entrepreneur, bring the entrepreneurial spirit within that organization.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the value add they would be able to give. Right?
Yeah.
So great, this has been good. I think, I hope our viewers also been able to understand the difference between these two programs. We also have an MDes. We also offer an MDes course in human-centered design, that's HCD. All the details are on our website. Please go through it, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach us. The contact details are also on our website. And thank you very much, Vineeta, for this morning's conversation.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you.